Radio. And I also I'm retired. I retired about 3 years ago, and I taught at Cal State Long Beach and at Long Beach Poly. I have a PhD in sports social psychology from Temple University, and what classes I taught here were mostly women in sport classes. But I have taught others in that field of sports psychology. I'm a board certified resource specialist, or I was, for Long Beach Unified for 12 years. And I've taught other places, including Iran. I was in the Peace Corps in my early 20s. And then I taught in Philadelphia, Broward County, Florida, Torrance, Los Angeles, so many places. Here on campus, they have a senior university, and I teach an Olympics course every 2 years there for the seniors. It's a volunteer. I take classes there too. Besides that, I am very interested in animals. I'm involved with the Humane Society, the American Humane Society, and other rescue organizations on their emergency response teams. When there were the fires in San Diego a few years ago, I helped down there with some of the horses. I get to take a lot of different classes because of that. My last one was about ground support for helicopter rescue of horses. So that was kind of interesting too. I'm part of the Seal Beach Animal Care Center's emergency team, Long Beach's CERT, which is a Citizens Emergency Response Team, and the response team here at Cal State Long Beach. And doing that, I got my ham radio operator license too. Presently, what I do is I'm interested in holistic health and wellness for animals and people, and I concentrate in homeopathy, Korean hand therapy, and a thing called Psych K. I've done meditation and hatha yoga for 25 or 30 years. And my topic today is about following your dream, and how looking back now, now that I'm retired, I can look back and I can say the kinds of things that were important in doing that for me. How I got here was that Bob lives on my street, and we talked about this a lot. And then when I thought about getting involved as at Kids Talk Radio journalism, I was going through some old things that I decided what to throw out, and there was this, it was called the Central Terrace News. And it was one page, and I remember now that when I was like 10, I went up and down the street and collected news from all the people, and for 1 penny, got a few subscribers. It probably lasted a few weeks. And then I remember that, and then I remember that once, my very first years of teaching, I got a grant to do Super 8 films. People familiar with those? Those are those old cameras, the old cameras where they had film in them, and they would, okay, never mind. Anyway, I got a very small grant, and I had this one student. It was very influential in what my students did, and I was very excited. And I had one student whose parents were like beside themselves. They didn't know what to do. You know, the brothers had gone to college, and he was this last child, and he was like bump on the log kind of kid. And I said, well, I don't know, I talked to them. And I said, well, I've got this project, we'll see. And I handed him a camera. I had 2 or 3, so, we had a group of people doing them. And we would show film shoot film in the class. And within a month, this kid was like studying hard, getting good grades. And I think that had everything to do with that, being able to speak through a camera, to do journalism through a camera. Yeah, I was a lot younger and very enthusiastic as a teacher too, but I don't think I could have done that. So I do know that I became very interested in this. I've always been interested in journalism. I've never really done that. But so all of a sudden this opportunity came. So that's one of the things I wanted to say. What is this? 10 years old, 22, and now. And I'm able to participate in something, for me, this is exciting, as Kids Talk Radio and journalism. So stuff that you start and that you're interested, even when you were little, can turn into something when you get way old, you know? And it's just such a surprise sometimes. And the other things I would like to say have to do with, the topic of this was following your dream, and I see dreams change. I see dreams more as a journey, and so things happen, and all along the way, and I have some suggestions for how you might find out what your dream is, at least temporarily a dream, and that would be to think about what you're really interested in. Like I started teaching, like I said, and then I was teaching history, which I love. And then I woke up one day and I said, I don't want to do this. I want to do something else. And I said, well, what am I interested in? And I thought, well, you know what, I'm really interested in sports. And that, because I read the newspaper every morning, and that's the first section. I said, well, that is what I was most interested in. And I was a good athlete, short. So I'm not a star, but I was a good athlete, right? Back in those days, you could be short. And so I went back to school. That's when I was teaching in Philadelphia. I went back to school, and I got my master's degree, and I got my PhD, and I found somebody to study with that really had a vision that I could go along with. And that's one of the things I would suggest to you, is that when there's somebody doing something and you have an opportunity to do it, and you like it, I would go do that. Or at least consider it, because it's very important who you hang out with and who the teachers are. Another thing is that I think a lot of times people think about having these big opportunities and people are lucky, and I think that there's an effort that goes into opportunity, so that you're ready. You're ready when the opportunity comes. If you have something you really want to do and you know what you need to do for it, do those things for it. And then the opportunity is going to show up. I also think that what you pay attention to, putting your focus and your attention on things is very important. So if you're interested in grade, you put your attention there, that's going to work. If you're not, it might not be so easy, especially after they get past the point where you're really smart. You're really smart and you have to really work. The other thing is, I think you need some support for yourself during this whole journey of finding out what your dream is, and having to change and going and doing this and doing that. And that's why I got involved in Hatha yoga and meditation. So I think whatever you find to do that supports yourself, yeah, it's like eating right and all that kind of stuff. But beside that, something that supports you, something where you can learn your inner voice. I'm a big fan of meditation. I've been doing it a long time, but where you can just sit and be quiet and kind of listen to yourself. Something that will do that, and then some kind of exercise or some kind of yoga or Tai Chi or Qigong. Maybe those used to be basketball and tennis. I do play a little golf still, but that kind of stuff, the things that can nourish your being, I think are very important. I guess the last thing I'll mention is that, I have two more things to say. One is that, I did not get a job in sports psychology. I tried 10 years to get a full-time job in sports psychology because that's what I wanted to do. And then when that seemed to be closed, what I thought about was, somebody said, well, there's this thing called special education. and maybe you'd be good at that. And I thought, you know, I didn't really want to do that again. And I'd already done that, been there, you know. And then they said, well, you know what you do in special education, especially if you're a resource specialist, is you teach students and kids how to use their minds to do their best performance they can. And you probably know that, so that gave, my students are people that have had Asperger's and ADHD and stuff. So I was able to use the sports psychology techniques of improving your mind, or improving how you would study. I mean, I could do it for anybody, but so it turned out that turned out to be a good thing. It worked out well. And is our Vermont person online?
Yes, we have them.
Okay, so I think I'll close with that. Maybe when we have our round table, we can talk more about it, but those will be my suggestions.